Tonight on In Focus, we examine two pivotal developments reshaping major regional and global fault lines. First, we dive into the tension over Ukraine's future. European leaders, led by Britain and France, have outlined plans for a multinational force to help secure a ceasefire and long-term security guarantees. But Moscow has blasted these proposals, condemning them as militarists and threatening to treat any Western troops on Ukraine soil as legitimate combat targets. Then, from the Middle East, we turn to Gaza, where Hamas has publicly stated it will await the formation of an independent committee to manage the affairs of the Strip, a key element of post-war governance discussions tied to regional ceasefire efforts. Two major stories, divergent theatres, but both highlighting how peace plans can trigger new geopolitical clashes and diplomatic complexities. Let's get in focus. Moscow Times states that Russia sharply rejected a European plan to create a multinational peacekeeping force for Ukraine, branding Kiev and its European backers as axis of war. Moscow condemned the proposal as dangerous and militarist after European leaders and US envoys agreed in Paris on security guarantees that include a US-led monitoring mechanism and a potential deployment of Western troops if a ceasefire is reached. Russia's foreign ministry warned any foreign military units or facilities in Ukraine would be treated as legitimate military targets by Russian forces, underscoring Kremlin opposition to NATO-linked troops on Ukrainian soil. Kiev has not yet received clear details on how such forces would operate, and key negotiations over territorial control and security guarantees remain unresolved. To unpack why Moscow's reaction to European peacekeeping idea has escalated already fragile diplomacy and what it means for Ukraine's future security, we're joined by Mr. Ivanus, advisor at the Ukrainian National Center from Kiev. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to In Focus. Mr. Us, can you summarize the latest European initiative for Ukraine's security guarantees and the envisioned role of the multinational force?
Good evening to you, Mona. Good evening to all audience. Thank you for invitation. Mona, actually, of course, it was a very important start of this year because from theoretical talks about security guarantees, we start discussing practical moments. And one of the main practical moments is how our partners will react on the future, if it will be, and we are sure that it will be, threat from Russia to Ukraine. So, we said before that we need guarantees that not only weapons will be presented to Ukraine, but that the soldiers of our partners' countries, from the countries that help Ukraine, will be on the ground, will be on the Ukrainian territory. So the deal that we have, at least declaration that was signed in Paris by the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, and of course, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, is about possibility of foreign soldiers on the Ukrainian territory. So we are start to forming this, let's call it so, plan for the future.
Mr. Us, let me get clear. The initiative, yes, involves that France and the United Kingdom would be deploying forces or their forces into the Ukrainian land, okay? what is the purpose of that? What is the purpose of such forces on the Ukrainian ground if there is a ceasefire and negotiations for peace?
Mona, we have a big experience of different deals. First of all, we have experience of a Budapest Memorandum of the year of 1994, when Ukraine gave its nuclear weapon instead of promises of territorial integrity of Ukraine. And guarantor, according to the Budapest Memorandum, the list of guarantors were the United States of America, Russia, France, the United Kingdom, and China. So when at the year of 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and annexed some part of Donbass, each of our guarantors expressed their threat, but expressed their worry, but didn't do something, except Russia, who actually do that. After the start of war in 2014, we have talks with Russia, and it was so-called Minsk Agreement in 2015 that make a dot in that time situation when everything was freeze. But as the year 2022 demonstrated, Russia didn't plan to stop. So Russia planned to annex whole Ukraine, and they do that. When now someone said that Ukraine is not Venezuela and Russia didn't plan to do the same thing that United States of America do at the 3rd of January of this year, Russia actually planned to do that. Russian forces were actually in Kiev, in city where I am situating, and they of course plan to capture Ukrainian President Zelensky. The other thing that they failed to do that, unless US soldiers. But we understand that Russia want to do that. We understand that in case of peace agreement, that will be not peace. It will be like Minsk agreement. It was just a pause till next war. The same situation now. So we, if we receive the peace, it will mean that we have the pause till next war, because current Russian regime headed by President Putin, they never forgot about their target to control whole Ukraine. Actually, even President Putin liked to repeat that they have at the February 2022, they have several targets, and then they want to fulfill it. And one of them was denazification, means elimination of Ukrainian nation. That's why we are asking our partners to send their troops on the ground on Ukrainian territory, because presence
but then,
yes.
Mr. Us, if those forces were deployed in the Ukrainian land, then Ukraine is not any more neutral as was stipulated in the 2014 Crimea Agreement.
Why we actually say that we can be neutral, meaning that we will not be in NATO. Now, according to all deals, we will not be in NATO. Presence of foreign soldiers is guarantee of our security. Without their presence, we will be not insecure. So we'll understand that Russia will wait for the moment. Russia accumulate forces, and Russia actually violated the order. Russia started this war. Russia committed enormous quantity of crimes. That's why when they said that Ukraine should be neutral, if we are not neutral, if we were in NATO, Russia will not attack us and not kill our people for years. And we understand that. That's why Ukraine said that, yes, Mama.
Yes, but Mr. Us, if we get back to the history, there were at then same situation here, and the agreement stipulated that Ukraine would be independent as long as it's neutral. And anyway, let me here get to the core of our episode today. And when Russian officials warned that Western troops would be legitimate military targets, how seriously should Kiev and its allies take that statement? And to which extent do you think Russia would escalate?
First of all, Russia always searches escalation, and the situation at the airports of Western countries, now, for example, problems with electricity in Berlin in the capital of the main European Union country, as for me, it's so something that could caused by Russian threats to European Union. Russia always like to repeat that they want to repeat the Second World War, meaning that they want to capture Berlin, as they do in the year of 1945. But it's not Russia do, it's Soviet Union do, and Ukraine was part of Soviet Union. Now it's Russia, it's not a big Soviet Union. Nevertheless, I think that current Russian regime is a constant threat to European Union. And a lot of people inside European Union understand that. 3 years ago in Germany, it was research of the German Council of Foreign Affairs who stated that in case of Ukraine defeat in this war, the war between Russia and Germany starts in 6 or 10 years.
But this
now
is,
I think
but
that,
this,
yes.
these are the rhetoric statements said by Ukraine, not by Russia, because Russia denies all the time that it is a threat to Europe. Let me take it on the other hand. And what are the core uncertainties surrounding how the peacekeeping forces would operate, and why has Russia focused so heavily on this?
You know, Mona, first of all, Russia, 2 days before full-scale invasion, said that we didn't plan invasion in Ukraine. And in 2 days, they start this invasion in the year of 2022. That's why when they said that they are not threat to Europe, as a lot of experts who know Russia actually very well, said that be ready for that aggression, because it's the ideology of Russia. As for Russian position about the foreign troops in Ukraine, of course, first of all, Russia don't need peace. Russia want to conquer whole Ukraine, and they repeat that. And when we said that, oh, we find the way of peace, but the reason for Ukraine to go on this peace, it's condition that foreign troops will be in Ukraine as a guarantee that Russia will not attack. Because, as I said, we are sure that Russia will attack. Russia dreamed about that. And in case of foreign soldiers will be in Ukraine, Russia will think whether to do that or not. But even that could not stop Russia, we are sure. Nevertheless, now, of course, it's discussion. But, you know, Mona, I really think that all these peace talks, it's rather theoretical things, because we have the front line, we have a war. And as Korea War that happened in the 1950s demonstrated that sometimes the big war can stop only after the death of the leader, like death of Stalin influence on the freezing of Korea War. Unfortunately, now we don't see any other chance to stop this war unless Putin is alive. That is a big problem, because he can live for next 10 years. So unfortunately, it means that the war could be for next 10 years, because Ukraine don't want to surrender, Russia don't want to stop, and that's the main problem.
Mr. Oos,
yes.
but if I may ask you here, you were negotiating already a peace deal when Ukraine made a strike on Russia. Now, from your point, so the question now is, who wants the war to stop and who doesn't? And how might this dispute impact ongoing efforts to finalize a ceasefire or any broader peace negotiations?
Mona, Russia started this war, so Ukraine didn't need it. But Russia at first started in 2014, and it was peace action, Minsk peace. But Russia said that it's not enough for them, they need more, and they start this war. Ukraine is not attacking Russia by our will. We are responding to Russia. It's a big difference to start the war and to respond to this war. Ukraine responds to Russia, demonstrating to Russia that Russia so need peace. Because initially Russia said that why we need peace, because we are attacking you constantly. Ukraine said, guys, we can attack you too. In this game,
Ukraine
yes,
made a strike, as reported by Russia, on the residence of the Russian president, while you were speaking about peace.
You know, Mona, even the US intelligence said that it's Russia lie. And unfortunately, a lot of countries in the world believed in this lie. Because I talked with former Prime Minister of Ukraine, several days after, and he said to me that that at the morning Russia said that 19 drones was in some territories far away from the place that Russia then announced at the place of Ukrainian attack. But then when the Russian leaders saw that the scenario that they expected, that Donald Trump will present President Zelensky and Ukraine signed a peace deal that will be equal to capitalization of Ukraine, it means recognition of Donbas, the part of Russia, and giving Ukrainian territory to Russia. Russia was sure that US will press on Ukraine to do that till the end of previous year. But when Donald Trump failed to do that, they decided to say that, oh, Ukraine want to kill President Putin. But even Ukraine, of course, immediately said that we didn't plan. A lot of European intelligence said that Russia lies. And finally, the United States of America said, yes, we are check our information.
Yes, the United States said they will check. They did not deny. Anyway, that was, yes. That was Mr. Qnews from Kiev. We thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
From Eastern Europe to the Middle East, now shift to another theater of conflict and fragile transition in Gaza. While ceasefire and peace proposals persist, Hamas has publicly signaled that it will await the establishment of an independent administrative committee to oversee the Strip's affairs, a development with significant implications for governance and reconstruction. US President Donald Trump is expected to announce the formation of a Gaza Board of Peace next week as part of moving into the second phase of the ceasefire agreement aimed at ending the conflict in Gaza, according to US officials and sources familiar with planning, according to Axios. The board would be chaired by Trump and include about 15 world leaders tasked with overseeing reconstruction in Gaza and supervising a future Palestinian technocratic government. Invitations are already being sent to key countries expected to participate. Former UN Middle East envoy Nikolai Mladenov is stated to serve as the board's on-the-ground representative. The inaugural meeting may take place later this month at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Well, for more analysis, we are joined by Mr. Ahmed Maharem, writer and political researcher from New York. We welcome you, Mr. Maharem, and let me start by asking you, what is the context for Hamas' recent statement about waiting for an independent committee to manage Gaza's affairs?
Well, independent committee is welcomed by Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. Hamas would like to show how serious American and the other leaders of the world to push in order to show how serious Benjamin Netanyahu. Hamas strengths on different points would like to discover to what extent Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government are really serious about that, how they would like to shift from phase 1 to phase 2. Hamas has the feeling that Benjamin Netanyahu is not serious to shift to phase number 2. Using what's happening around the world, America is too busy in other areas, and the international world also are too busy in different topics. So I think Hamas, the strength on the point, they would like to stress to show the world, starting from America, to what extent Benjamin Netanyahu is serious to move to the second phase of the agreement with Gaza.
Mm-hmm. What is the intended role of this committee in terms of governance and daily administration in the Gaza Strip from your point of view?
I think what's expected is how those 15 leaders of the international world can assist in making peace in the area and allowing all the difficulties are made by Israeli government to allow the Palestinians to receive more facilities and more humanitarian assistance. Especially, we can see in this very unusual weather under the rain and all this uncomfort situation the Palestinians are living on. So the first thing is they have to show the world and to Palestinian physically on the ground. There is different steps can show a better life for the Palestinians in order to minimize the problem they are facing on a daily basis.
Now, Hamas has said it will facilitate the handover. How significant is that stance in practical terms?
That's a good question. I think to facilitate turnover or handover, that means Hamas would like to show how serious they are and how positive to communicate with other facilitators. I think it's a good point. But to achieve that, they have to guarantee also that the other side has to be more progressive and more active and has kind of cooperation to do the needful in the ground. The ground needs a lot of facilitate from different parties. Hamas shown they are really interested in doing that. And we hope that the other sides can be with the same kind of lane.
Mm-hmm. How does this committee fit into broader peace and ceasefire arrangements?
Yes, Hamas under difficulties, maybe all the parties, starting from Israel and America, they also stressed about Hamas has to deliver all the weapons they are under their control. But meanwhile, when we listen to Benjamin Netanyahu, he said in so many occasions that he destroyed Hamas power. That means there is a very limited kind of weapon are still with Hamas. And maybe that is the point to make Hamas to still consider that they can do some kind of showing their capability and their hard work to lead the other side to listen to them.
Mm-hmm. The other side in terms of, you mean here the Palestinian people, the Israelis, the forces, or this board that will be on the ground? What do you mean by the others?
I think the other, you can include everybody talking about that. If it will be around that Hamas surrounded, if Hamas surrounded, there will not be a future of Palestine. Hamas is still trying to show they still strengths and they still can defend about their Palestinian needs and Palestinian voice in the ground. So I think that's what I mean.
Now, how do Gazans themselves respond to the prospect of a technocratic or independent body managing this strip?
I think it is also a good question. The Hamas people, the Palestinian people, they lost 70 or 80,000 and they have casualty maybe 150,000. Under these unusual circumstances, very difficult on the ground. Hamasi people, of course, they have the ability to accept any kind of a change. Of course, they will never give their back to the Hamas. Hamas have done a tremendous work according to them. But I think they have to show that some kind of, accepting what is
offered,
capable to be. Yeah, they have to accept the reality in order to achieve something better for their life.
And do you really think that they believe that this new board would really prevent Israel from attacking, make Hamas give in their weapons and will be able to govern the ground?
To be honest, they are not believing 100%, or not everybody is believing, but at least that the only thing is available now. They have no other choice except they have to say, let us at least to try.
Mm-hmm. What are the implications for reconstruction, humanitarian aid, and political legitimacy?
The reconstruction and the humanitarian aid, this is a very sensitive point. I think if Israel would like to show the good face of that, they have to open the borders and they have to allow the minimum standard of humanitarian aids the Palestinian people are in need of. Something else has to be, to show the world that the Israeli are really serious in order to do a kind of reconstruction of Gaza.
Right. From your point of view, your own point of view, could this committee shape Gaza's future political landscape beyond immediate post-war needs?
Well, for time being, America does not have any intention or time to think about the Middle East. They have other priorities now, was announced already in their, future security plan for America. That means they left all on the ground in the situation for the Middle East, starting from Gaza to Benjamin Netanyahu. That's why Benjamin Netanyahu feels he has a green light to do what he would like to do. So it is going to be very critical. We all hope that something better can be done, but I doubt very much that can be under the up to the expectation of the Palestinian people.
Right. Finally here, what do you see as the most crucial next steps for international and Palestinian stakeholders now that this committee framework is being discussed?
Well, the most crucial is what extent of all what was agreed on has to be applied physically on the ground with a sustainable kind of solution. They have tried so many times. Israel signed so many documents to agree on something. Now to move from phase 1 to phase 2 doesn't want Israel to do it. So there is still some kind of obstacles or difficulties has to face all the hopes we would like to do it in the future.
Now, before I just end, we need to verify we need you to explain something. That now the board will be chaired by President Trump himself, and it includes 15 world leaders tasked with overseeing the reconstruction in Gaza, supervising the future of Palestinian technocrat government. Do you think that this board will be able to deliver a safe haven for Palestinians and really achieve what the Palestinians aspire for, which is an independent Palestinian state?
Assuming and believe that the board, head by President Trump, have all the wishes in order to show the world that there is someone who is thinking about the Palestinian future. Let us hope that can be done. The only difficulties is, on the other hand, Israel is still on the ground, is still occupied more than 50% of the Gaza Strip. Are they going to allow to have a good face with the President Trump and the other 15 leaders? I hope so, but it seems like it needs some kind of patience.
Right. We thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed Maharim, for that clear and insightful look at a very delicate phase in Gaza's future, where governance, politics, and peace plans converge under intense scrutiny. I guess that brings us to the end of today's episode in Focus. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates and analysis on Qnews.